Barack Obama has issued a stern warning that Democrats are moving too far to the left, making an implicit dig against Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, targeting specifically their rhetoric. And he said the American people are not being represented by the activist base or by a particular group of people on Twitter. And he's right. Unfortunately, as predicted, the woke Twitterati will not accept this, saying that Barack Obama is either right-wing, he's become a Republican, they criticize his policies, or they just say that he's out of touch. His faction of the Democrats are waning and he's losing power. And you know what? They're actually right. According to Gallup data, the progressive wing of the Democratic Party is growing. And thus, we can expect to see two things. The Democratic Party will be fractured and Donald Trump will likely win in 2020. I mean, for a lot of reasons. The economy's great, but this is one of them. If the Democrats can't unify around a core set of ideas, then what do they have? Recently, Ocasio-Cortez said impeachment is kind of about bringing the Democratic Party together. But here's why I find this story so fascinating. For one, it is really interesting to see Barack Obama say to the Democrats, hold your horses, you are losing the American people, you're going too far left. But it feels like we're in mirror world. Remember in 2016, when they said the Republican Party has died, they're broken, they're fractured, falling apart, this is the end of the GOP. And sure enough, Trump has massive support among Republicans, and they're united around him. They also claimed that Trump would not accept the results of the 2016 election. They say it'll never end. He will refuse to leave. And sure enough, where are we now? Bill Barr, in a speech, saying that the day Donald Trump was inaugurated, the resistance came into existence, and they were calling for his impeachment by any means necessary. Trump has been obstructed and blocked every step of the way. And what's interesting to me is while I disagree with many of the ideological stances of Republicans, you can see that the economy is doing really well. I can absolutely criticize foreign policy, but outside of that, I wonder what would be happening if they weren't obstructing every single thing Trump did. Now, don't get me wrong. Republicans have obstructed Obama in many ways, and this is kind of it's part of politics. But what's interesting here is not necessarily that Trump is being obstructed, but that it's a mirror version of what they claimed was going to happen. The Democrats are fractured 6 ways from Sunday. They refuse to let go of what happened in 2016. And now Barack Obama is desperately trying to hold it together. It's everything they predicted about Republicans happening to themselves. Well, let's get started with the story, and we'll start with exactly what Obama said and how he criticized the far left. Before we do, however, make sure you check out timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's a PayPal option, a crypto option, a physical address, but of course, the best thing you can do, share this video. If you think I do a good job, if you agree with my opinions, or even if you disagree and you think that I bring up interesting points, then sharing this video really helps me compete with these big news channels. It helps me grow my business and continue doing what I do best. So one of the best ways you can support the channel, just share the video. Let's read. Obama says average American doesn't want to tear down the system. Yes, Obama, you would be right. Former President Barack Obama, in an address to liberal donors, warned candidates not to go too far left and sought to calm those who were concerned about the state of the Democratic Party. Well, I will agree with you on the Democrats going too far left, but I am predicting based on Gallup data and current trends, there is nothing you can do to stop it. I'm sorry, Barack, but let's read. Former President Barack Obama offered an unusual warning to the Democratic primary field on Friday evening, cautioning the candidates not to move too far to the left in their policy proposals, even as he sought to reassure a party establishment worried about the electoral strength of their historically large primary field. Speaking before a room of wealthy donors, Mr. Obama urged Democrats to remember the long combative slog of his primary campaign against Hillary Clinton in 2008, arguing that the 16-month battle ultimately made him a stronger general election candidate. Quote, "For those who get stressed about robust primaries, I just have to remind you I had a very robust primary," he told the group of several hundred donors and organizational leaders in Washington. "I'm confident that at the end of the process, we will have a candidate that has been tested." Yet he also raised concerns about some of the liberal ideas being promoted by some candidates, citing healthcare and immigration as issues where the proposals may have gone further than public opinion. I want to stop here and say a few things. This warning is not unusual for Obama. He called out cancel culture. He called out the left eating itself, the circular firing squads, and now he's calling out the far left candidates. They say these are liberal ideas. I'm sorry, no, they're not. They are far left ideas. That's why he's calling them out. They are not liberal positions. Liberals are reference to freedom. These people are authoritarian far leftists who believe in ridiculous things. They note healthcare and immigration. Right. Abolishing private healthcare. Absurd. And it would get rid of 2 million jobs that would devastate the economy, and we'd lose tax revenue if those people were out of work. Immigration, that's right, decriminalizing border crossings and promising government health care to those who are non-citizens. It's absurd. We have to have, listen, I know it's a Republican thing historically to say balance the budget. And they're not doing that so much today. I mean, the deficit's climbing. But come on, man. We can talk about deficit spending, but not if your proposal is to decriminalize border crossings and allow these people to then get access to government-funded health care. We can barely afford we literally can't afford government-funded health care as it is. Obama couldn't get that done. How do they expect this to be an actual feasible policy? Well, I'll tell you this, I don't think they do. Based on what Bernie and Warren have talked about in terms of the wealth tax, I don't believe they're being genuine. And I'm a bit offended. You cannot propose a $52 trillion Medicare plan over 10 years and then not tell people about how you're going to pay for the non-citizens who come and how you fund this with 2 million lost jobs. It's just not reality. It just cannot exist. But they're claiming it because it's beautiful promises. I will give you the world. If you vote for me, I will lead you to the end of that rainbow. I'm sorry. There is no end of a rainbow. It's just a fantasy. Let's read on. While Mr. Obama did not single out any specific primary candidate or policy proposal, he cautioned that the universe of voters that could support a Democratic candidate, Democrats, independents, and moderate Republicans, are not driven by the same views reflected on certain left-leaning Twitter feeds or the activist wing of our party. Even as we push the envelope and we are bold in our vision, we also have to be rooted in reality. The average American doesn't think we have to completely tear down the system and remake it. You know, something's really interesting I saw is that Tulsi Gabbard has a huge support base among people who voted for Donald Trump, but were Democrats. So let me phrase that again. Many of those who support Tulsi Gabbard are Democratic primary voters who voted for Donald Trump. Keep that in mind. Now, for Trump supporters, that might worry you. Tulsi Gabbard could actually pull away many of Trump's support base, the more moderate individuals. I mean, notably me. I'm not someone who supported Trump, but you can see that reflected in people like me who agree with you on many issues of freedom, liberty, culture. But policy-wise, we see a principled individual with enough good policy and integrity in Tulsi. That could be very powerful. And so Obama makes a really good point. She's the person who could unite this country. It's unfortunate, however, the establishment has sought to smear her to an absurd degree. But let's read on. They say this. His remarks offered an implicit critique of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, who have urged voters to embrace a political revolution and big structural change, as well as proposals once widely considered to be left to the liberal fringes of the party. Stop calling it liberal. Okay? Liberal could mean rather centrist individuals who believe in freedom. Liberal typically referred to those who are socially liberal, who are slightly left of center. This group you're talking about is not that. They say including court packing and decriminalizing illegal border crossings. Now here's where it gets interesting. I want to take you on a journey back in time. Back in 2016, in June, Obama said he was worried about the Republican Party, saying the truth is, actually, I am worried about the Republican Party. And I know that sounds, you know what it sounds like. You want the Republican nominee to be somebody who could do the job if they win. And you want folks who understand the issues and where you can sit across the table from them and you have a principled argument and ultimately can still move forward with the party, move the country forward. Now listen, I will be the first to criticize Donald Trump for his attitude, his character, and all of those things. But who's disrupting the conversation today? Is it the average Republican who is begging for a debate? Ben Shapiro who says, debate me. No, it's the anti-fascists. It's the far left. It's the disruptors. It's the protesters who come to shut down dialogue. Barack Obama, you got it backwards. But you know what else? Take a look at these stories. How about the New York Times back in May of 2016? Republican Party unravels over Donald Trump's takeover. How about this story from The Atlantic? May 4th, 2016, the day the Republican Party died. Media Matters. The Republican Party 162 has died, and that's May 4th. And there's more. Ezra Klein, March 1st, 2016. The Republican Party is truly profoundly broken. And what can we see today? The fantasy of Republicans ditching Trump by Politico, October 24th, 2019. And this is just one that I pulled up. They say Rich Lowry is editor of the National Review and a contributing editor with Politico. Now, I'm not going to get into the depth because the point I want to make is that you simply Google search a story about the Republicans, and this story I thought was interesting, calling it a fantasy that Republicans would ditch Trump. They are united around their candidate. Meanwhile, Barack Obama is begging Democrats, please stop going too far left. They are fractured. I'm sorry, Obama. Your party, the party that you led for so long, is completely fractured. And all of the warnings about Republicans, the party being over, they're now united behind Donald Trump. And let me just show you a bit of this data. Take a look at this. This is from The Economist, and I love showing this graph. In 2018, Republicans have a strong center. They are united around their core ideals. This has to do with the distribution of ideology of House candidates who won their primaries. This is not a reflection on Trump or being united by Trump, but whatever it is happening on the Republican side, they are all aligned for the most part with they have a core set of values they mostly agree on. And when you look to the Democrats, they're completely spread from center to far left. The Democrats are fractured to an absurd degree. And now we can see the changes. I'm sorry, Barack Obama, you've lost. Your warnings fall on deaf ears because, as we can see, the moderate wing of the Democrat ideology is waning. From 2007 to 2012, it was falling from 38% to 35%, while the progressives rose from 39 to 46. And you were a part of that as well. Barack Obama wanted universal health care. So he was part of that rising wave of the more left-wing members, the more far-left members. Now, Gallup calls it liberal, moderate, and conservative, but this is on the Democrat side, so I'd refer to it as far left, left, and centrist. But you get the point. The more left-wing, the progressive wing, is taking over. So I decided to take a look at this story. Huffington Post tweets, former President Barack Obama warned the Democratic field of White House hopefuls not to veer too far to the left, a move he said would alienate many who would otherwise be open to voting for the party's nominee next year. The first thing I want to do is give you a very, very simplified explanation. If the Democrats think going far left will open up a new voter base, they're sacrificing the moderates. The tug of war is between Democrat and Republican, not the fringes of the left and the fringes of the right. The far left will vote for Democrats if they have to, but the centrists can choose between the two. As progressives like Cenk Uygur say, we need to activate that base on the left and get those votes. They are sacrificing moderates. That's why it's important to listen to what Obama has to say. Unfortunately, as we can see from the responses to Huffington Post, it's all on deaf ears. Take a look. One response, agree? Will the purists agree is the question. That's an apt response. Yes, Barack Obama is right. This one, okay, boomer, you also pretended to be progressive. The so-called moderate Republicans will never vote Democrat. Changing progressive positions to seek a vote that isn't there is the reason why we are in this mess now. Sorry, Barack, you were way too centrist. From HRC reactivation to Bloomberg insertion into the ballot and the speech, they all show a panic in the establishment. That's right. I'll tell you what, man, that's a good point. Bernie Sanders and to an extent Warren, I think Warren, I'll put it this way. I think Bernie Sanders is a legitimate anti-establishment upstart. I think he's an independent. You know, he is an independent, and he's running as a Democrat because it's his best path to victory. Warren, on the other hand, is an establishment player who put on that Bernie mask so that she can make sure Bernie doesn't win. The establishment is terrified. I have absolute respect for many of the far-left members of Congress, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar, etc., not for their crazy ideas, offensive statements, or ethics probes, but I respect them for challenging the establishment and winning. I do think there are many problems with what they're doing, but I have an idea that I have this idea that I've talked about before. I gotta say, I was happy when Ocasio-Cortez upset her district and took that seat from that establishment Democrat. I was like, good. Look, you know, since then, AOC's caused a lot of problems, but listen, she just removed this long-standing crony Democrat, and now after, we'll have another election, we'll see if she makes it. I would prefer to see populists and people who actually care about issues, taking over. So to an extent, I have respect for those who have challenged the establishment and won. And I can recognize they are recoiling in terror. But here's where it gets interesting again. Now we can talk about the fracturing of the Democratic Party, but how about this? From PBS, October 21st, 2016, just so close to that election. Trump won't accept election results if he loses, as Clinton expands campaign into red states. Oh, man. It's just like something happened in 2016. Did someone just launch me into the mirror universe where everything they claimed was going to happen happened to them? It's like their evil magic reflected back upon them to curse them. The Democrats are fractured and falling apart, and they won't accept the results of the 2016 election, pushing scandal after scandal, controversy. They voted on impeachment 4 or 5 times already, and here we go with Russiagate 2, Ukraine Boogaloo. Here's the way I describe Ukrainegate. You ever play a video game, and when you get to the later levels, you notice that the bad guys are the exact same as the earlier bad guys, but the programmer just changed the color? Like you got the green Koopas in Mario and the red ones. They're the exact same animation, which is a different color. So it makes them a different monster. That's literally what they're doing. It's the same scandal, the same tactic, the same strategy with boring hearings. They've just slightly tweaked it. And that's it. But the reality is, it's the left that can't let go. Take a look at this. This is from just the other day, last night. Attorney General Barr defends Trump, assails resistance in fiery speech to conservative lawyers, saying, "In waging a scorched earth, no-holds-barred war of resistance against this administration, it is the left that is engaged in a systematic shredding of norms and undermining the rule of law," Barr said in a speech to conservative lawyers at the Federalist Society Convention in Washington. This is a very dangerous and indeed incendiary notion to import into the politics of a democratic republic. The fact is that, yes, while the president has certainly thrown out the traditional Beltway playbook and punctilio, I'm not familiar with that word, forgive me. He was upfront about what he was going to do, and the people decided that he was going to serve as president. Bill Barr mentioning that the day he was inaugurated, the resistance came. They refused to accept that he won, and he did win. And I'll let you in on a secret. I've said this before, so it's not really a secret, but it's funny. I was in a room of Democrats when Trump won. And when he won, I laughed. You know why? I wanted Bernie Sanders to win. There's a lot of reasons I've come to move away from supporting him, and I've now believe Tulsi is probably a better choice. I don't think I do think they're a bit far left. Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with everything they do. I just agree a little bit more, just a little bit more. I'm a milquetoast fence sitter, so I lean a little bit in that direction. But when Bernie Sanders had it stolen from him by Hillary Clinton, I was upset. I was angry. Like, how dare they subvert the will of the people? People wanted Bernie Sanders, for better or for worse. And they played dirty games. And Hillary took the nomination, and I was out. And you know what, man? But then Donald Trump won. And so you know what I did? I laughed a hearty laugh. One of the loudest and most enjoyable and long laughs I've ever had. Because the establishment got their comeuppance. It is not a system meant for you, built by us. It is a system for us. It is a government of the people. That we the people vote. And you wanted to play games? This is what you get. And that's why I say I have respect for those who have upset the system, even if I disagree and think they're really bad. Look, man, I can respect somebody, like I can respect what they've been able to pull off while still disagreeing with them and thinking they should be removed and voted out because they're too far left and they have no idea what they're doing. But I absolutely respect those that are challenging the system and telling you don't have the right. Bernie Sanders does things I don't like. Yeah, but so does Donald Trump, okay? I can disagree and agree with them to various extents, but I do feel that while Trump is not always honest, there is a certain air of refreshing honesty sometimes. Like even The Intercept, the left-wing publication, said he is simultaneously the most honest president we've ever had and one of the most deceitful, but the honesty can be refreshing. He says things that, people they want to hear. They're tired of the mishmash PR garbage. And Trump comes out and just says it, and people are like, thank you. We're all thinking it, right? So there's a difference. Trump will, in my opinion, lie to protect himself or be misleading or typically just wrong. I think the media likes to call him a liar when I'm like, no, he probably just kind of got the details wrong on that. Or admittedly, there is a tactic the media does where they will add a caveat, a tiny little bit that makes no sense to disprove a fact, right? So let's say Donald Trump was seen handing out $100 bills to orphans. And all the Republicans start saying Donald Trump was handing out $100 bills to orphans. What these fact-checking sites and these journalists do will say, we're going to fact-check that claim. Did Donald Trump hand out $100 bills to orphans while eating ice cream? False. And they'll make it seem like the whole thing is fake because they added that last little bit that no one ever brought up. No one ever said he was eating ice cream while he did it, but that allows them to say false for the whole thing. And then they'll go into this diatribe about people are claiming that Donald Trump was handing out $100 bills to orphans. The claim is expounded on the fact that Trump was eating ice cream. And then at the bottom, they'll say, while Trump did hand out $100 bills to orphans, he wasn't eating ice cream. It's a trick. I've seen it over and over and over again. Like CNN just published this big long thing where they're like, everything Trump says is wrong, but because they're twisting what people actually think. Like when it comes to the whistleblower, whose name I can't say, you get the Daily Beast saying the Republicans got the name wrong, and like no one ever claimed that guy was the whistleblower. You see what they do? Anyway, here's the point. Let's bring it back. Barack Obama, I'm sorry. You are now a Republican. You are the old guard. You have lost. And while I certainly like Obama more than many of these far left, individuals, I can certainly criticize Obama's policies, the things he did. I didn't vote for him a second time, okay? I think he did a lot of really, really bad things. But the establishment, you're dying. The Democrats are going to lose, and the far left is going to take over. And you know what? You reap what you sow. So the same as when Donald Trump let out that the same as when Trump won and I let out a hearty laugh, I looked to Obama and Hillary and I still let out a hearty laugh because this is you losing again. You want to play games. You want to subvert what people want. This is what you get. You get snake oil salesmen. And you know what? I can sling that left and right. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. You get what you deserve. And the people chose Trump, and you want to play games. You are now cursed in the way you thought Republicans would be cursed. Your party is fractured, and you refuse to let go of the 2016 results. Everything you threw at the Republicans has now bounced back onto you. We'll see what happens in the future. I know it's complicated, and I can try and clarify. Look, I said this before about her name is Agatha Basilar. She's running in San Francisco against Nancy Pelosi. And I think she's got a lot of far left policy ideas and identitarian ideas I really, really don't like. But you know what? It's about time Nancy Pelosi retired. And it's about time a younger person got elected based on the things they actually believe. I think we have reeled from these politicians who care nothing for the people and only want to just sit in the seat. They want the keys to the castle. That's all they want. So many of these politicians, left and right, all of them. And I think Republicans get this. That's why they chose Trump. So many of these people don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care if I believe in, say, universal health care and you believe in a robust private market. They don't care about that. They're going to say whatever they have to say to convince us to vote, so we hand them the keys to the castle and they could sit atop the ivory tower. That's what they want. I don't care for that. So if it's going to be someone like AOC, who I think is bad, and I will criticize, I prefer her over the crony politicians whose only interest is milking the teat of the tax dollar. Not interested. I will debate the ideas, I will criticize, and to a degree, I will insult those who have terrible policy ideas, be it on the left or the right. Admittedly, the left has gone so far left, I think they've lost the plot, and I'm more of a moderate individual. But I will still respect them more than the crony losers who have just run for office over and over again because they want to sit in that throne. I'm not interested in that. Because there's no debating your idea. It's just fake. You look at Hillary Clinton. She goes down to that Southern rally and then she puts on a drawl. It's like, oh, please, dude, you're so fake. You are plastic. Okay? So here's the problem we have now. In the end, Obama's right. The Democrats are going too far left, and I don't like it. And I don't know where that puts me, but what can you do about it? In the end, you reap what you sow. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. So I'll just put it this way. You know what? Confused? Yeah, me too. I'm politically homeless. There are a lot of policy positions and ideologies on the right I'm not going to just arbitrarily agree with. I think it's fair to say that as a more moderate, slightly left-leaning individual, I'm willing to recognize the beliefs of the left and the beliefs of the right. Not perfectly. I've had people criticize me saying I really don't understand how conservatives think. And I'm like, I agree. I'm trying, though. Like, I have friends who are conservative. I listen to them and try and hear them out to get an understanding of the way they view policy. But you're right. I've always, my whole life, been an urban Democrat. And now, while I agree with Obama, I also don't care. Like, yep, there's your warning. Yet too bad. This is what happens when you for so long have plastic politicians speaking garbage nonsense, not actually delivering, and everything falls apart. That's what you get. Congratulations. Now look, the Republicans felt this way, at least I would assume so, in 2016, and they led that bull, that is Donald Trump, to the gates of the ivory tower, and he stormed in and is rampaging about. Yep, and I'm sitting back laughing about it. Hey man, the left wanted their guy, Bernie Sanders, and you colluded and cheated to do it. Okay, why am I going to get your back? You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like this. I kind of feel like, you know what? Let these far lefties win. Let these people get in, and it'll push out that corrupt crony establishment. Trump did it. Okay, and it's funny when the left is like, what corruption did Trump get rid of? Oh, come on, dude. There's still crony corrupt Republicans, and there's way more crony corrupt Democrats, and I'm looking forward to the people leading in their choice to push that out. And if that means we get a few years of a politician we don't like, yeah, so be it. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and cry because Donald Trump is president. I'm going to sit back and laugh because the Democrats had a chance, and they let this happen because they wanted to play stupid games. So there you go. I'm laughing, okay? I understand their problems. I'm concerned about, my friends and family. I want to make sure, but it's not that bad. Okay, Orange Man is not that bad. It's so ridiculous how they act like it's the end of the world. And Bill Maher saying Trump was I wasn't scared Bush would lock us up. Calm down, dude. Trump's not going to lock you up. You're fine. In 8 years, Trump will be out, and you can vote for somebody else. It's that simple. It's not the end of the world, but I will tell you, it's the end of their world. The establishment is in full-blown panic because they're facing a battle on two fronts. Trump on one side, investigating them and their crony BS, and the far-left progressives on the other side, pushing them out. And it makes me laugh. Now, I'll tell you what. When it comes to policy and stuff, yeah, I'm going to argue with Bernie and AOC and Ilhan. When it comes to ethics and all that, you better believe I'm going to do the same thing. And I've been critical of Trump on his foreign policy especially, and I have no problem saying I think Trump is dishonest. But I do think the media lies because they're desperate to protect the establishment. We got him on the run, boys! Be it a Tulsi Gabbard supporter or a Trump supporter. It sounds to me like they're in full-blown panic mode. There you go, Obama. I think we can hear what you're really saying. He's telling them they got to show up their defenses. He's right. I can agree. But at the same time, watching the establishment fall, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's not the end of the world. We're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. The economy is doing pretty well. Maybe not completely true, but, for the most part, stock market's up, wages are up, fine, whatever. I know people try to argue this, and there's always, periodic economic downturn. But I'll tell you what. The worst case scenario that we're facing is a bad market. People might go without, they might lose their jobs if the market goes bad. But I'll tell you what, your refrigerator is going to keep running. Your AC, your crisp, cool, refreshing air conditioning in summer will still be there. Your toilet will still flush. So do I care that Trump is president? I mean, like a little bit. It's like, I don't like the guy, whatever. And I'll sit down with a beer with a Trump supporter and we can have that conversation. And I got to admit, it's fun to have those conversations. That's why I like watching YouTube videos. I imagine it's why a lot of you watch this. So we'll see what happens. I'll wrap it up. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at youtube.com/TimCastNews at 6 p.m. and I will see you all there.